there's a very good likelihood, McKenzie, that you will spend the rest of your life in prison.
Back in February, Schabusiness attacked her former defense attorney.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty.
Guilty.
Well, Your Honor, there's nothing that I can say here today.
This is McKenzie Shirilla, a 17-year-old teenager who is facing 4 counts of murder, 4 counts of felonious assault, 2 counts of aggravated vehicular homicide, 1 count of drug possession, and 1 count of possessing criminal tools in Cleveland, Ohio.
You're under arrest for aggravated murder ×2, okay? Nobody's gonna ask you any questions. Nobody's gonna bother you. Can I have your key, please?
Could you please be careful taking this one off so it doesn't break the bracelet, please?
You got it. You got it.
That was Shirilla getting arrested about 3 months after she survived the car crash that killed her boyfriend, 20-year-old Dominic Russo, and his friend, 19-year-old Davian Flanagan, who were passengers in the car. The accident happened on July 31st, 2022, around 5:30 a.m., and the whole event was caught on the street surveillance system. Shirilla, who was driving at the time, had driven her 2018 Toyota Camry at approximately 100 Metro into the Plitco building in Strongsville. The 2 passengers were pronounced dead at the scene after they had to practically extract them from the wreckage. Shirilla was rushed to the hospital as she sustained serious injuries herself. Luckily, she recovered and got better in the following weeks and months. However, the police opened an investigation into the crash, and when they checked the car's event data recorder, also known as the black box, they found that Shirilla had her right foot pressed down on the acceleration pedal to its full extent, and the service brake pedal was never applied before the impact. In fact, her Prada slippers were still on the accelerator when the first responders got to the scene. The investigators also noted that prior to the crash, Shirilla's vehicle had no problems that could have led to an accident. Another noteworthy evidence was that the 3 friends had smoked pot while driving. They had hallucinogenic mushrooms and a scale with them too. However, what left investigators scratching their heads was Shirilla's behavior after the death of someone who was supposed to be her lover and his best friend. Weeks after the crash, while in recovery, Shirilla was at a concert. Days after, she was on social media doing this. But nothing could have prepared anyone for Halloween. That was Shirilla in October, barely 2 months after the crash. This choice of costume shocked the victims' families so much that Davian's mother commented, "There was just no remorse." The police interviewed family and friends, including Shirilla's ex-boyfriend, who talked about her disturbing personality.
And that's kind of when all of us stopped being friends with just her. We were all cool with still. Just because she's so crazy, she'll blow everyone's phone up.
This was more than enough for prosecutors because 5 days later, convinced that she had intentionally murdered her boyfriend and his friend, they charged Shirilla with double homicide.
You're under arrest for aggravated murder ×2, okay? Nobody's gonna ask you any questions. Nobody's gonna bother you. Can I have your key, please?
Could you please be careful taking this one off so it doesn't break the bracelet, please?
You got it. You got it.
Even at the moment of arrest, Shirilla was mostly worried about her bracelet.
Could you please be careful taking this one off so it doesn't break the bracelet, please?
You got it. You got it.
Initially, the case was brought before the Cuyahoga County Juvenile Court because Shirilla was 17 when she was alleged to have committed the crime, but it was transferred to the General Division.
Can you hear me, ma'am?
Now 18-year-old McKenzie Shirilla facing murder charges from juvenile detention for the crash that happened last July 31st.
In court, a Cuyahoga County grand jury returned a 12-count indictment charging Shirilla with 4 counts of murder, 4 counts of felonious assault, 2 counts of aggravated vehicular homicide, drug possession, and possession of criminal tools. The prosecution was quick to bring out incidents of her lack of remorse as part of the evidence against her.
These aren't Halloween of last year, so these would be post-crash, just before she was charged in November. We think the defendant has shown a shocking lack of remorse, Your Honor. We think that she has continually put forward that this was an accident in spite of the fact that the evidence is in direct contradiction. Your Honor, you were on Progress Drive. You saw the evidence that was displayed in court. And Your Honor, we think that you are the person who is in the best position to decide an appropriate sentence. We have full confidence in the sentence that you'll give, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McDonald?
Your Honor, may it please the court, I ask you to allow Mrs. Shirilla to address the court first.
To follow up, the prosecution got witness statements from Dominic and Davion's friends at the police station voluntarily sharing information from Life 360. The location-sharing app showed them that on the morning of the crash, their friends were speeding towards a building at 100 Morgantown. There was this tense moment when the judge called out Shirilla's mother for simply focusing on her daughter with no regard for the two people who had died as a result of her action.
What was the other thing?
I'm hearing an awful lot about your daughter. I'm not hearing very much about the two dead people.
Dominic, okay, I'm asking you for a leniency because this was a tragic accident that she does not remember. And Davion, he's a new friend. I'm so sorry.
What does that mean? His life is worthless?
No.
Okay.
God, no, not at all. They all loved each other. They all spent every day together. You know what I mean? I don't know
And
too
isn't
much
that
for
part
him.
of the problem, Mrs. Shirilla?
Sorry?
Isn't that part of the problem, that they all trusted each other? Isn't that part of...
It's not a problem at all. It was
It's a
wonderful.
problem how they all ended up in the car together and two of them ended up dead.
I understand. I understand what it looks like.
The families of the victims also had the opportunity to address the court.
But this was not a car accident. The evidence and science proved that McKenzie Shirilla murdered my son, Dominic, as well as Davion. There's no fix put in this case, as the Shirillas would like to proclaim. I want to thank Strongsville Police Department and the state of Ohio for seeking the truth behind this crash.
I also pray that Mackenzie will find true remorse in her heart and true repentance. We thank all of those that worked so hard to help us bring justice for our son. We are forever thankful.
Then, an emotional Shirilla finally took the stand.
You have to speak if you don't want to. It's up to you. Okay? You can sit if it's more comfortable. Whatever's better for you.
The families of Dom and Davion, I'm so deeply sorry. I hope one day you can see I would never let this happen or do it on purpose. I wish I could remember what happened. I'm just so sorry. I'm heartbroken. I love Dom and Davion. We were all friends and Dom was my soulmate. I wish I could take all your pain away. And I'm so sorry. And to my family, thank you for the support and all the love you guys give. Thank you for fighting with me. I love you all so much. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you.
After listening to all parties, the judge began sentencing.
The difficulty for sentencing today, honestly, is whether or not I believe you should get consecutive sentences. I'm troubled that should I give you a concurrent sentence, that people will believe that somehow I'm being disrespectful to one of the victims. And on the other hand, I have to weigh the punishment. There's a very good likelihood, Mackenzie, that you will spend the rest of your life in prison. That won't be up to me. That will be up to the parole board, and that will be up to you to a great extent. I understand that the pain in this room wants me to impose the harshest sentence, but I don't believe that would be the appropriate sentence, because I do believe that Mackenzie will not be out in 15 years. So she's sentenced on count 2, the murder of Davion Flanagan, 15 years to life. She's sentenced on count 1, the murder of Dominic Russo, 15 years to life, to be served concurrent to each other with credit for time. I'll waive fines, fees, and costs, and your appellate counsel will be assigned. Are there any questions from the state?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Any questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
2 concurrent sentences of 15 years to life. While Shirilla managed to avoid the harshest sentence possible for killing 2 people, what happens when a person is so evil they even attack the only people who would defend them? This is Taylor Schabusiness, a woman charged with first-degree intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse, and third-degree assault in Green Bay, Wisconsin. On February 22, 2022, Schabusiness, a wife and the mother of a 2-year-old, strangled 24-year-old Shad Therian, her partner, with a metal chain while they were engaged in activity in the basement of Therian's mother's Stony Brook Lane home.
This is the thing that I have, like, I've always had, you ever love something so much that you kill it? Like, it happens to me. That's the feeling that I have. I love something so much that I kill it. Like, I love it so much, and then I kill it. That's what happens to me. So,
Following his death, Schabusiness engaged in sexual acts with Therian's corpse for several hours, including oral sex and using toys. On the morning of the 23rd, she dismembered Therian's body using kitchen knives found in the house. She beheaded him and dropped his severed head inside this bucket, bisected his torso, removed his organs, and scattered the parts in plastic bags and cardboard boxes in the basement. Later that day, Therian's mother, Tara Pakinich, discovered her son's severed head in the bucket, covered with a towel, and called 911.
Where's that? Go right there. Look right, there's a bucket with a towel on it.
The police found additional body parts in the basement and later found even more remains, including a leg, in a crock-pot box inside Schabusiness's minivan. Schabusiness was arrested that day at an apartment complex on Eastman Avenue with blood on her clothes and hands, cuts on her thumb, and scratches on her arms.
Hi, Taylor. How's it going? Officer Russell with the Green Bay Police Department. Just make sure you ain't got nothing on you here. Good Taylor. Contact me. Taylor, you have one more for your arrest. Put your ass behind the track. David, I'll see you, buddy. You got blood on your hands here, too. No, on your hands. Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to. What apartment are you in? What apartment are you in? Do you have to come up? On the double. Which apartment? One is what they came back to. Yeah, go. Guys, start gonna get here now.
When questioned by the police, Schabusiness said she and Therian smoked cannabis and later used methamphetamine and injected trazodone before the incident.
And where'd you get the trazodone?
the table.
The table, where's the table located?
Here's my Scott's song.
Was it Scott's trazodone?
Yeah, he is.
Are you sure it's trazodone?
It says it on the bottle.
So you took some pills from where? Just sit on a table? On a counter? And it said trazodone on the label?
Yep.
And was it Scott's pills? Was Scott's name on there too?
Yeah.
And you crushed them up, and then what did you do?
I put it in the syringe. I pulled it back, and then I shot him.
Okay. And you said you took a shot too?
Yeah,
Schabusiness claimed the incident was part of erotic asphyxiation they had done before. She said that she continued strangling him even when he began coughing up blood, and she held on for up to 5 minutes until he died.
he was coughing up the blood right, and I was just waiting for him to die, and then I was looking at his little face.
Well, did he expect to have sex with you?
Because I felt like it was I'm like, damn, I'm already this far, so then I just like, yeah.
How long did it take for him to die?
Like, 3 to 5 minutes, maybe. But, I don't know. I don't know.
But what shocked the interrogators was her answer to a certain question.
I think you just also said that you enjoyed it, right? And I enjoyed it.
Oh yeah.
All right. What'd you enjoy about that?
And her reason?
Did it make you happy? Was it just kind of exciting? Like opening Christmas presents? Or?
I don't know. This is the thing that I have, I've always had, you ever love something so much that you kill it? It happens to me, that's the feeling that I have. I love something so much that I kill it. I love it so much and then I kill it. That's what happens to me. So,
Alright, so he dies, he's dead.
When it looked like it couldn't get any worse, it did.
2-3 hours.
Is that also when you used the dildo?
Yeah.
Did you have this body at all? At any point or any type of contact? Obviously the dildo and stuff, but...
I grind it on him, I put the dick in his ass.
You grinding on?
Yeah, I listen.
Did you ever put his penis in your vagina? Okay, you just grind on him?
Did you see before that you performed a roll on him?
Yeah.
Okay, and that was after he was dead?
Yeah. And then you gotta have to do it half hard while I was still sucking while he was dead. Yeah.
Okay. Was that part of playing with him? Or?
That is part of playing with him.
Okay, that was part of playing with him. Did you?
Actually, I was severing his head while I was doing that too.
You were stopping?
Yeah.
So it wasn't only a couple hours before you severed his head?
With her admission of the crimes, the police took the case to trial. In court, she pleaded not guilty by reason of mental disease, which is an insanity defense. Using this and citing incompetence, her defense pointed out the fact that she has had a history of mental health issues that required drug use. They claimed these issues were compounded by the family troubles that made Schabusiness use drugs as a coping mechanism. To this, the judge stated,
credibility is included in that the greater weight of the credible evidence supports a finding that Ms. Schabusiness is competent to proceed to trial, and I'm going to make that finding now. So that's the decision of the court.
The drama that ensued took the entire court by shock.
Stop it. Stop it. Rachel, call.
After this, the defense lawyer filed a motion to relieve him of his duties as Schabusiness's legal defense, citing a broken client-lawyer relationship. The judge granted this motion, and the state assigned a new lawyer to her. In the days that followed, the prosecution presented their case to court.
After he was dead, engaged in acts with him, with his body, subsequently dismembered him using kitchen knives found in the home.
And to back it up, there were testimonies from several witnesses, including the victim's mother's boyfriend.
Tara had woken me up and said she thinks she found her son's, that's how she put it, I found my son's head in a bucket. So I'm dumbfounded. Didn't believe her. Thought she was having a mental issue or something.
Sure. So, do you remember what time this would have been?
It had to be about between 2 and 3 in the morning. I know it was the middle of the night.
And you said you were woken up. Were you sleeping in that room up in the second floor?
Yes.
And Tara had woken you up?
Yes, after she heard her door slam.
Is that something you heard, or that's information Tara's telling you?
I don't recall if I heard it, but I know that I woke up a little bit when she got up.
And at some point she comes back and tells you
Yes.
some information?
Yes.
What do you do then?
I go downstairs and see what the hell she's talking about, and I can't see anything, so we go back upstairs and contemplate what the heck to do.
I guess what do you do specifically when you go downstairs?
I went to the basement and observed the bucket that she said, but I don't know, my mind blocked it out, or all I seen was like hair like an animal or something. I didn't know what the heck.
There were pieces of evidence too, confirmed by the detective in charge of the case. It showed that Schabusiness attempted to clean the crime scene and dumped blood down the basement shower drain. Most of these were funny to her.
Well, we can tell you what it looked like, and so you don't need to see a picture of it. Photos can be helpful, they can. And so I understand that argument. The doctor could just simply describe everything, but the question is this going to be helpful to the jury?
With this overwhelming number of evidence and witnesses, it was clear Schabusiness was guilty, but the case wasn't over yet. The second phase of her trial started because Schabusiness pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. The jury now needed to decide if she was genuinely suffering from some sort of mental illness that prevented her from understanding the seriousness of the crimes she had committed. Something the victim's uncle felt she should have sought help for instead of killing his nephew.
And I'm not a praying man, but after Judge Walsh's sentences today, I will pray that you meet the same fate as your idealistic Jeffrey Dahmer. So have a good life, shit business.
In the first phase of the trial, the guilty verdict came after only about 30 minutes of deliberations.
This crime offends human decency, it offends human dignity, and it offends the human community. It really does. It's the decision of this court and the judgment of the law that Ms. Schabusiness be sentenced as follows. As to in 22 CF 363, count 1, that's the first degree intentional homicide as a repeater. It's a Class A felony. Going to impose life imprisonment without the possibility of extended supervision. I believe that's appropriate in light of the findings that I've already made. As far as count 2, mutilation of a corpse as a repeater, a Class F felony, I'm going to adopt the recommendation of the pre-sentence investigation writer. 7.5 years of initial confinement followed by 4 years of extended supervision. That'll be consecutive to count 1. As far as count 3, third degree assault as a repeater, Class G felony. I'm going to impose 3 years of initial confinement followed by 4 years of extended supervision. That will be consecutive to count 2 and count 1. As far as the revocation cases, I'm going to impose 1 year of incarceration on each of those counts. Those will run concurrent to the other offenses. I've reviewed, as I've indicated, reviewed both of the pre-sentence investigation reports. There's certainly valuable things in them. I'm going to, as conditions of supervision, I'm going to require no contact with the victim's family, maintain absolute sobriety, complete SOT assessment and treatment follow-through, obtain and maintain full-time employment. To the extent there's ever supervision, GPS monitoring. I'm going to require an AOD assessment follow-through, psychological evaluation.
4, first-degree intentional homicide, life imprisonment without the possibility of extended supervision. For 2 mutilations of a corpse, 7.5 years of initial confinement followed by 4 years of extended supervision. For third-degree assault, 3 years of initial confinement followed by 4 years of extended supervision. For revocation cases, 1 year of incarceration. With Taylor Schabusiness, we witness a lover's raging desire to kill what she loves, but what happens when the bonds of a friendship are severed by betrayal and blood? This is Rachel Schoaf and Sheila Eddy, the remaining part of a 3-way friendship, now facing charges of first-degree murder, second-degree murder, kidnapping, and conspiracy in Morgantown, West Virginia. The 2 teenagers were held responsible for the kidnapping and eventual murder of their childhood friend, Skylar Neese, the only child of her parents, Dave and Mary Neese.
I like the Bazooka Joe comics. What's so backwards?
Neese and Eddy had known each other since they were 8 years old, meeting at a local children's program in Blacksville, West Virginia. Schoaf joined their group much later when all 3 attended University High School in Morgantown, West Virginia. And soon the trio were inseparable. hanging out together and getting into trouble from drinking to smoking weed to breaking curfew. It soon became obvious that Eddie was mainly responsible for this delinquency. Shof was a talented singer and actress and was new to the friend group, so she simply went with the flow. Niece had a 4.0 GPA and worked part-time at a fast food restaurant. Soon enough, this dynamic in the friendship began to show as Eddie and Shof spent more time together.
Are you sure? Yes. Don't you have to go to Nancy or something? Okay. No, I have a dress rehearsal at 6:30. Yeah, well, actually, let's do it at like 7. Because I'll be home at 7 because it's only 15 minutes long.
And with the two getting close, the line between friendship and romance began to blur, something Niece soon picked up on during a sleepover. Unsurprisingly, she posted this. She soon made it clear. And at this point, friction built up between the three teens, and they began to argue among themselves. Niece would post a couple more cryptic tweets. This was her last post because on this same day, Niece went home after finishing a shift at work, and the next morning, her dad discovered that she hadn't slept in her bed. He found her window screen in her closet and a hidden bench that she could use to climb in and out of her window. Soon, they got a call from the restaurant their daughter worked at.
I said, we're not going to worry. I'll call them about 10 after 4, give her time to clock in, everything, see if she's there. They called us first, wanting to know if she was coming to work.
Surprisingly, another call came in, this time from Eddie.
She said that she had to tell me the truth. And I said, well, what truth? She said, well, we snuck out last night.
Eddie claimed that she and Shof picked Skylar up around 11 p.m. on July 5th, 2012 to drive around and get high, but insisted that they dropped her off at the end of the road near home before 12 a.m. so that she could easily sneak back inside. At this point, it was clear that some things were wrong. So the parents called 911.
Hey, I have a daughter that's 16 years old. Apparently she snuck out of her room last night and she hasn't been seen since. None of her friends can get a hold of her. I can't find her.
Hey, what's her name?
Skylar Niece.
The police launched their investigation, quickly getting videos from surveillance cameras of the Niece's apartment.
You can see in the CCTV footage from the apartment building.
This was the teenager running toward an unknown car. Unfortunately, the camera was too blurry, and the car was too far away for the police to properly identify the vehicle or anyone in it. Dave and Mary, afraid that their teenage daughter had been abducted, printed flyers to find her. Eddie helped pass out flyers in the neighborhood and regularly posted about her missing friend on social media. The search for Niece went on for months.
The Star City Police are still looking for a missing 16-year-old.
Family and friends went on social media posting. Her father went on TV emotionally begging his daughter to come back home.
We love our baby, we want her home.
Nothing produced results. But when the investigators took another look at the story from Eddie and Shof, they realized that the girls were not telling the whole truth. As the months went by, the investigators mounted more pressure on the girls, and their story, which had stuck to for several months, began to change. By the end of Christmas, Shof had become a nervous wreck and soon suffered a mental breakdown.
Mon County 911, we have an emergency.
I have an issue with a 16-year-old daughter of mine. We can't control her anymore. She's hitting us, she's screaming, she's running through the neighborhood. Give me the phone. No, this is over. This is over. My husband's trying to contain her. Please hurry.
Shof was taken to a mental health facility, and after a while she decided to speak to the detectives handling Niece's case at her lawyer's office. And what she said next was beyond shocking.
Her face got really red. She just, glanced at us and said we stabbed her.
According to Shof, she and Eddie had planned to murder Niece for months and had settled on the 15th of July. They had called her that they would be coming in Eddie's car, and looking at the grainy surveillance video, it began to make sense why Niece willingly entered the car. Shof said they drove for almost an hour across state lines into Pennsylvania before parking the car in the woods of a town called Brave. According to the teenager, they chatted for a while, and when Niece started walking toward the car to pick up a lighter, her friends counted to 3 and, on signal, started stabbing Niece using knives they had kept hidden in their clothes. Shof admitted that Niece tried to run but was tackled. She did grab a knife and fought back, cutting Shof's ankle. This was an unfair fight, 2 against 1, and they stabbed her repeatedly, close to 50 times. Then the girls stood over her, watching her die. And Shof confessed that as Niece lay dying with her final breath, she had asked them, why? The teenagers had planned to bury their friend right there, but the ground turned out to be too rocky for their shovels. Instead, they moved the body next to a big tree and covered her with rocks and branches. Then they washed themselves in the Morris Run Creek, disposed of their bloody clothes and knives, and left Niece's phone turned off next to her body. All this took a few hours, and the girls were back home at dawn, giving Eddie ample time to tweet at 09:09 a.m. Always keep your cool. After Shof's confession, Dave and Mary were still in shock that the friends of their daughter, whom they treated like their own, had done this terrible crime not to strangers, but to them. But the scale eventually fell off when Shof took the police to where she and Eddie had left Niece's body.
I'm so sorry.
But the police didn't arrest her immediately. They hoped to get Eddie implicating herself during a conversation with her partner in crime. But this didn't work. In fact, during this time, Eddie had no idea that the police had all the cards. She was taunting them on social media, talking about how incompetent they were and how painful the death of Niecy was. So, they decided to switch their approach by searching Eddie's car. This was the break they needed because they found Niece's blood in the car. With this, they were able to arrest both teenagers. During interrogation, the girls were asked the same question Niece had asked with her last breath. Why? Their answer? We just didn't like her. In court, Shof pleaded guilty to the lesser charge of second-degree murder. The judge gave her the opportunity to address the court.
I'm so sorry. I don't know if there's a proper way to make this apology, because there are not even words to describe the guilt and remorse that I feel each day for what I've done. The person that did that was not the real me, not the person I am, not what I'm made of, and not what I believe in. I don't think I ever thought this would actually happen. I became scared and caught up in something that I did not want to do. I never realized the gravity of my actions and how many people I've hurt. I hurt the Niece family and those who love Skylar. I hurt my parents and shamed my family. I hurt my extended family and all of my friends who loved me. I hurt my teachers and those who believed in me. I hurt my church family, my community, and those who trusted me. And I hurt my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. May God bring eternal peace to Skylar and the entire Niece family. Again, I'm so sorry, and I pray each day for everyone involved, and I pray each day for forgiveness.
Yes, sir.
And her apology meant nothing to Dave Niece, who made it clear when he took the stand.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, Rachel Shof did tell us where Skylar was. Yes, Rachel Shof did cooperate. And Rachel Shof also murdered my daughter in cold blood. Skylar would not be where she was if it wasn't for Rachel Shof. You said yourself, Your Honor, this is first-degree murder. She should not give any leniency, and she can take her apologies and everything else and sit on them because that's about what they're worth to me and my wife. She has done nothing but make our lives a living hell since this day one. She did cooperate in the end because she knew that it was closing in on her, and yes, she would be caught. That's the only reason she feels remorse. Your Honor, I ask you to give her 40 years and plus if you can. Thank you, sir.
His sister-in-law practically towed the same line in her impact statement, only wanting to know why.
I'm Carol Michaud, and I'm Skylar's aunt and her mother's sister. And still to this day, we do not know why they did this. And that is a question we would like an answer to. Because what in the world would be so bad that you would have to kill Skylar and to put her through what you did? You didn't think about that when you were doing it, so why would we need to think about how you feel now? You stood there for over a year, comforting, being with us, telling us you knew nothing. When the police and everybody was coming close, then you decided to confess. You need to think about everything you put us, your family, and everyone else through with not being able to have the pleasures that other kids would have. No grandchildren, no marriages, no prom, no graduation. How do you think that would make us feel? You don't get it, and neither does Skylar, but at least your parents get to see your face, get to talk to you, and see you. We don't even get that luxury. They get to say goodbye to you. We never got to say goodbye or anything. And I hope that you really and truly regret for what you did, but it would never make us feel any better.
Dave's brother was so emotionally broken he could barely get the words out. The prosecution concluded by saying this.
Shirley, no lesser sentence than those years of imprisonment available for second-degree murder is sufficient for justice here today. Surely, for this oh-so-adult crime of cold-blooded, planned, premeditated murder, there is no proper sentence other than an adult sentence. Surely, a sentence as a juvenile is unthinkable. If Rachel Schoaf has accepted full responsibility for her crime, she should not be asked to be sentenced as a juvenile. She should be willing to accept every day, every hour, and every minute of a proper adult sentence.
On the stand, the defense highlighted Schoaf's cooperation as the major reason why the case was even solved, adding that her decision to confess prevented the Neese family from passing through any more agony. Having listened to both parties, the judge proceeded with Schoaf's sentence.
Rachel Schoaf, for your conviction of the offense of murder in the second degree, the felony charged in the prosecutor's information in this case, it is a sentence of the court that you be imprisoned in the West Virginia State Penitentiary for a period of 30 years.
Rachel Schoaf received a 30-year sentence thanks to her cooperation with the authorities. As for Eddie, she initially pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder at her pretrial hearing, and court observers believed she appeared to be smiling during the hearing. She, unlike Schoaf, didn't bother with trying to show remorse. However, at her trial, Eddie did appear a little subdued as she sat through her sentencing. After the prosecution read out the charges against her, Eddie's plea had to be reaffirmed.
Ms. Eddie, have you heard what the prosecutor said the state's evidence would be?
Yes, sir.
Is that substantially correct?
Yes, sir.
Is that what happened?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Eddie, are you entering a plea of guilty to the offense of murder in the first degree, the felony charged in count 3 of this indictment, because you are in fact guilty of this offense?
Yes, sir.
The judge then allowed impact statements from the victim's family. Dave once again took the stand.
My name is David Neese. I'm Skylar's father. I'm here today with my wife, Mary. I'm speaking to you on behalf of my daughter because she can't be here. On July 6th, she made a decision to leave her house, go through a window, and supposedly go with 2 friends, and I use that term. I'm sure you know what I mean. When we learned that she was missing, we immediately went to the Star City Police, who couldn't do anything with us, so they just listed her as a runaway. Since that date, my wife's life has drastically altered. We are no longer a family. The person sitting before you, Skylar's so-called friend, took her away from us without any remorse or feelings. You can look into the eyes of those who are responsible, but you can never hear what they heard as they were taking her life. You can see the faces of the killer, but you can't see Skylar's face. You can never understand the fear that she must have had as they took a knife and ended her life. You cannot imagine the pain that Skylar must have felt, and the pain that Mary and I now feel. Your Honor, Skylar deserves to be heard today.
In this emotionally charged atmosphere, the judge turned to Eddie for her statement, and here was her response.
It's your right to make any statement that you might wish the court to consider before it passes sentence in this matter. Do you have anything that you wish to say at this time?
Your Honor, I can, on behalf of my client, she asked that she be permitted to remain silent.
In light of this, the judge gave his sentence.
Ms. Eddie, would you please stand? Sheila Eddie, for your conviction of the offense of murder in the first degree upon your plea of guilty, it is a sentence of the court that you be imprisoned in the West Virginia State Penitentiary for the rest of your natural life, consistent with the requirements of the Constitution of the United States. That sentence is technically with mercy, which makes you eligible for parole after you have served 15 years.
In exchange for her guilty plea, the prosecution agreed to a sentence of 15 years to life, and Pennsylvania agreed not to prosecute her. After the trial, Dave Neese swore he'd be at every parole hearing to ensure Eddie never walked free.